Relax as we listen to a very inspiring talk on cycles of life and how to embrace these changes in the cycle of life from no less than Miss Grace Eleazar. Miss Eleazar is a renowned author of books on The Soul Speaks and A Gift, a Spiritual Journey on Love. She is the woman behind La Bella Tagaytay, the emerging mixed-use residential development that features a holistic village, fully furnished affordable condominium units, health and wellness centers, and leisure living.
I'm quite happy with the topic that we're going to discuss, and I was surprised when Teng told me it's all the bicycle enthusiasts, and that's why you called it the circle and the cycles of life. This is a very relevant topic now because what we are experiencing globally is actually part of the cycles of life. Just what do we mean by cycles? Actually, cycles and circles are synonymous term when it comes to explanations of life. If you look at nature, everything in nature is circular. In fact, when I was taking my drawing lessons with a British teacher, what he told me was there is never a straight line in nature. And I was surprised because we were drawing the human body. And he said, you look at your eyebrows, it's circular. Look at, if you draw the arm, it's curved. So everything is curved. And he also supported it with an explanation that if you look at the earth from outer space or from at least on a higher plane, what you see as a straight line, if you're standing on the earth planet, is actually a curved line because earth is circular. So now, what does that mean when it comes to life? If you look at nature, everything in nature has cycles. Even our own life and death is a cycle. And if you look at everything that is part of nature, the trees, the ocean, the waves, everything is actually an organized system, and it is not as it seems to be. If you look at the clouds, you see, oh my God, parang magulo to, no? Wala naman design. Actually, in chaos, there is order. And that is what we fail to see in nature and in our life. When we go through cycles of life, we think, and we're going through negative things in life, we think there is disorder. There is something wrong with what is happening in our lives. Actually, no. It is all part of the cycle. We have seasons. We have summer, autumn, winter, all of that. That's a cycle. This is based on order. Everything in nature is not as it seems to be. Like parang ano ba to? Parang magulo lang design. It was just designed sporadically. It is not. Cycles is part of the movement of life. If there is no movement, there is no life. If you look at a river or a lake, the moment the movement of the lake, the stream stops, the lake becomes stagnant. And that's the start of the death process. So the movement and cycles of life are important for us to continue living. Kailangan natin may movement tayo kasi pag hindi tayo gumalaw, magi-stagnate tayo and life starts to break down and eventually die. Ang buhay natin may cycles. Actually, all of us are born on a certain sign, right? And these astrological zodiac signs are part of the cycles of life. This birth process is part of the cycles of life because the constellations that are there and our life are all connected. Hindi pwedeng ihiwalay yan. It is part of the energy system that is all over life itself. Now, cycles is necessary for us to have order, not only in nature, but pati sa ating buhay. When you say cycles, eventually you will have this vision in your mind that it's like waves, right? Cycles is like waves, because that is the actual reality, or the molecular structure of life. So pagka may waves, if you look at the ocean, may waves. The wind is not a continuous flow of air. The wind comes in cycles. Sometimes it blows and then it retreats, and then it blows and then it retreats. Cycle is a mandatory, so we say it's an absolute reality of life. So the moment we realize na life has cycles, matatanggap natin ang nangyayari sa ating buhay. Ang nangyayari ngayon sa global pandemic natin is actually a cosmic cycle. Everything, we will go to science first, right? Okay. Sa Earth, ang Earth nagmo-move sa kanyang axis by rotation. And that movement is our 24-hour day movement. Okay? And yet the Earth moves around the sun. That is a 365-day movement. That's a year. And the Earth on top of that is also moving on its axis. Axis means the center of energy. And yet the Earth's axis is tawilis ng konti. It's not like this. It's like this. And that movement is called a precession of the equinoxes. So, umaandar ang north natin. I am explaining this because you have to understand that what is happening globally is a cosmic event. Na ang ating globe, ang ating Earth, gumalaw sa axis. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng climate change, nagkakaroon tayo ng pandemic, nagkakaroon tayo ng volcanic eruptions, because the axis of the Earth is moving. And this happens every 2,500 years. So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Kung ang physical Earth natin is moving, then collectively, our global consciousness is also moving. So that the last December 21, there was a tinatawag na sa grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Those two biggest planets in our solar galaxy brought about a renaissance. It is creating what is called a new age. It's birthing a new age, just as it was 2,500 years ago, when the same planets nag-conjunct, nagpatong. Ay napakaliwanag. Ito yung tinatawag 2,500 years ago as the Star of Bethlehem. It again appeared December 21 of 2020 because it is heralding a new global consciousness for the entire Earth planet, including the cosmic cycles. So ito is a cycle. So that pag naintindihan natin itong movement ng Earth natin to, ang ibig sabihin, lahat ng tao sumama at mag-flow sa movement ng axis. Anong ibig sabihin? Yung ating centering of our own axis sa ating buhay, yan ay gagalaw. So ang ating lifestyle, ang ating values, the things we used to do before will now change. In short, we have to do a rebooting so that we maintain our balance. Now, are these cycles absolute? Meaning, hindi na pwede nating wala tayong mababago sa ating buhay. No. Cycles are not fatalistic, determined events. Cycles are there for you to understand what is going on with your own personal life, with the planet evolution and the cosmic evolution. So that when you look at your astrological chart, whatever it is that is happening now is also part of an astrological cycles in your life. Do you know that even our body, the regeneration of our cells, all of that have cycles? The bones regenerate every 2 years. Our blood regenerates every 2 months. Okay? The certain cells, 2 million cells in our body regenerates every 2 months. So, hindi pwedeng wala tayong cycle because as I said earlier, the moment in-stop mo ang movement, there will be stagnation, and stagnation is a prelude to death. When I say death, not necessarily physical death, but a death of certain portions in our lives. Astrological cycles is part of the human evolution because we are part of the constellation. Now, if you look at the purpose of these cycles, as I said earlier, it's supposed to guide you on what to do, and it is not a fatalistic event in your life. Now, how does that apply to one's life? Yung astrological cycles natin will tell us the impending o yung parating na cycle sa buhay natin. Dahil hindi tayo pwedeng walang negative at walang positive sa buhay because that is what is needed to create life. If you look at an ECG, ang symbol ng pusong buhay is a cycle. It's up and down, up and down, up and down. Ibig sabihin, buhay yung tao. The moment it becomes a straight line, that means the person is dead, right? So, when there is a cycle of up and down, be joyful, be glad, because you still have the gift of life. Now, what does one do when the cycle is up and when the cycle is down? Because these are important components of life. Right now, the global consciousness is in a cycle of downturn because of the global pandemic. Kumbaga, ang wave natin, dati tayo nasa taas, ngayon bumaba tayo sa crest, nasa ibaba tayo. And we are again waiting for the uphill climb on that wave sa upper crest so that the next cycle will be again a downward movement. How does one handle when one cycle is down? Easy. When you're going through the cycles of life, it's just like going and trekking, going to several mountains. Okay? You're trekking, going to a mountain. There's a big mountain, so pataas. It seems like hindi mo na makita what's behind it, right? So, you now look at your life, ay, problema. What is happening in the world? Hindi ko na makita because you're down. The reason why you don't see where you're going is because you're on the down portion of the cycle. So what does one do when one is in the down cycle? You have to go up. So that when you go up the crest of your cycle, of the wave, okay, you're able to see the path where you're going. You're on top of a mountain, so you look down and you see, ito pala dapat ako dito dumaan. Hindi pala dito sa kaliwa, sa kanan pala. Because now I can see the below. How do you apply that going up so that you don't look at your problems in life as an impediment? You raise your vibration. You stay positive. You look at the joyful things in life. You don't get burdened by that impediment that is facing you, because it is only part of the journey. You cannot go through the journey of life without the ups and downs. And that is how you address the different cycles of life. When it's up, good, stay up, be happy. But when it's down, good, be happy. Why? Because that is just the backward movement for you to be able to harness the energy for a higher climb. Without, ito yung tinatawag natin sa nabuelo. Pag gusto mong tumalon ng malaking talon, umaatras ka muna para may buwelo. That's all it is. So itong nangyayari sa atin sa mundo ngayon, na meron tayong COVID, na may nawawala ng trabaho, nawawala ng negosyo, nagkakaganito, meron namang nawawala ang buhay. Malungkot yun. That is actually really the most difficult of all the atras when you lose a loved one. But remember, I personally believe in the eternality of the soul, so that when you lose a person, you only lose the physical body and their presence in this lifetime. And because I believe in the eternality of the soul, it follows that I believe in reincarnation. So that losing of a person is just a way of surviving the eternality of life. So that is how to handle when you lose a loved one during all these COVID times. Now, how do you apply that do sa mga nawawala ng trabaho? Reboot. Use the creative power of the infinite that is within you and think of what you can do to again generate whatever it is that you want to generate in your life. Because within you is the creative power of the infinite, which means it is an unlimited source of ideas. And I have personally experienced this in my life. Now, meron akong pinuntahan, meron akong tinayong negosyo, pero it sort of failed, right? Then nagtayo ulit ako. Then again, it failed. Based on the world's perception, ay nako, laging lugi yan. Ba't ganyan ang negosyong pinasok niyan? Laging lugi. But looking back, these 44 years of my life, and knowing all these principles of life, all those events were not failed events in my life. They were just stepping stones. It's sad that the world calls it a failure. We should just call it a hump that we're supposed to overcome, because we're increasing our energy power for us to be able to attract what we want from life, which is normally a bigger one. You know, when we go through life, we always want something more, right? But how do you attract the more if you do not have the energy force that is generated from your within? Because life is generated from the inside. You know that. Why? Take out the soul. There's no life. The physical body has no life. And yet, the life that we're looking for is a life that is alive. But even on a dead body, I will have to change my words. There is still life, but not the kind of life where we can interact. In a dead body, there is still what is called enzyme. That enzyme is the life force, even on dead bodies, because without the enzyme, the dead body will not decompose. So there you will see that there is no such thing as an absence of life. Now, itong cycles na to na nangyayari sa mundo, dapat gamitin natin para ma-achieve natin ang ating goals. Because yung cycle na ito is just a, shall we say, the dark force that will bring forth the white force. is just like the birthing process. Na bago lumabas ang bata, you go through labor pains. Now, for those who understand the birthing process, when your baby is about to come out, that is not the way to concentrate on the pain. The mother usually concentrates on the push because she wants the baby to come out. She's not saying ang sakit and then just looks at the pain. Her focus is on the energy push so that the baby comes out. Yun ang dapat nating gawin ngayon sa ating mundo. We're on a cycle, on a downtrend. Kailangan hindi tayo COVID ang pinag-uusapan. Sinong namatay? Gano'n na karaming namatay? We are not negating the existence of that event. But we have to focus on what is coming out. Like a baby that's being born, the mother immediately forgets the pain when she sees the baby that is out. And there's tremendous joy because you brought up a new life. That's how we should look at COVID. That we are just making vuelo. And you know very well that right now, our lifestyles are all changing. Our values are changing. And if you don't look at it as a negative event, oh my God, you will see like it's a door opening for a better life. Ang kailangan ng mundo ngayon is transformation. That is what is called the age of Aquarius. Nanggaling tayo sa age of Pisces, which is unfortunately the age that brought about a lot of delusions because our heaven was made to be inaccessible. Kung kailan lang tayo mamamatay, tsaka tayo pupunta sa heaven. We have forgotten that the heaven we are looking for is the heaven you can create while living on earth. And that is what the age of Aquarius will show us. We will be given a new kind of empowerment, an empowerment of the self, where we look at the infinite as out there in the sky, where we have to beg for everything that we want from life. But the age of Aquarius will give us a new awareness that the power that is outside of us is also the power that is within us. The I amness, the life force that makes our heart beat even when we're sleeping. Yun ang ating nagpapatakbo ng ating lahat sa katawan natin, na binabago ang ating cells every 2 weeks, nire-repair so that we will experience the soundness and the vitality of life. Masyado nating this age of Pisces, nirelegate natin ang power outside of us. This is an age where we will start to see who we are as a person. Where did we come from? And knowing that, what are the tools that we have so that we can bring forth the kind of life that we want for ourselves and for our children. This is an age where all traditions will start to break down, including governments, including monarchies, including the old ways of doing things. We will become a new age of spirituality, where we will now start to respect the beliefs of every person, for as long as their beliefs do not do us harm. And in the respect and the acceptance of the uniqueness of each person, that is when we will create universal harmony. Universal harmony is not in achieving that we're all the same. We always think of harmony, even in relationships. pareho kami ng gusto sa buhay. Pareho aming kinakain. Pareho gusto namin pinapanood na sine. Pareho kaming gustong magbakasyon. That's not harmony, because eventually that will stagnate because it's too much sameness. But when you're able to accept the differences of each individual and accept them not as a resigned acceptance na, wala na ako, hindi ko na mabago, bayaan mo na, okay na lang siya, ganyan na lang siya. No, that's not the kind of acceptance we want. The acceptance we want is a total admiration of the uniqueness of that individual and total support for what he is or what she is as a person. That is when we achieve universal harmony. And this cycle of life, which is the age of Aquarius, will start that movement. It is a global consciousness. It is a global change. It is a cosmic cycle, just like our astrological cycles in life. Now, there are 12 zodiac signs, and yet that 12 zodiac signs are all within us. And every negative and positive of each cycle, of each astrological sign, is something that each one of us should develop. So right now, to be able to tap the axis of your life, there is one modality that you can use, meditation. Because meditation is not religion. Meditation is common to all humanity. It is not telling you the dogmas of one religion versus the dogmas of another religion, versus the rituals of one religion and versus the other religion pray. We have to find something that is common to humanity. And this is the cycle that we are in now. So let us ride this cycle by accepting events that are happening in our lives right now, personal, national, and global, and cosmic. And the moment we're able to accept, that means we are flowing with the energies of life. And how do you know that you are flowing with the energies of life? When you're able to stay positive, when you're able to see the good things of life despite the problem, when you're able to think creatively and come up with new ideas on how to earn, how to be happier, how to be enjoying each other despite social distancing. That is what is being taught to us now, that we don't need physical proximity. Hindi natin kailangan tabi-tabi tayo, mag-inuman tayo, magkasama tayo. No. What is being taught to us now is that in our physical distancing, we are more connected. And you see that. We are now able to talk to people via Zoom in China, in the US. And yet before, ang kausap lang natin, yung ka-meeting lang natin. So we are already in a changing paradigm. That in distance is sometimes where you create the closeness, because closeness is not a physical closeness that we are striving for. What we are striving for is spiritual and mental closeness, where we are able to accept each other for who they are. And that acceptance is really the spiritual unity that we are all striving for. I hope I'm able to give some enlightenment on the cycles of life. And I hope that with this short talk that I gave, I have placed the seeds of transformation in your souls so that you will start your journey towards your inner selves and not an external journey. We all need to go within. It's a long journey, but I tell you, it's worth it. Thank you.